A warm welcome to you. This is Business Daily on Trust TV, where we bring you updates and trends in the world of business. My name is Chiamaka Enendu, but first of all, let's take a look at the top stories in the business world this morning. And right about now, let's take a look at how the market started the week yesterday, where we did see the NGX, of course, start the week on or in the bearish territory. The NGX was down yesterday by 0.15% to 71,008 points. The market capitalization was at 39.1 trillion naira, while the volume hit 358.45 million, and the value was at 6.032 billion naira, while we saw 6,551 deals exchange hands on the floor of the exchange yesterday. Well, away from that now, let's take a look at the top gainers from yesterday's trading session, where Mikio, which has maintained its place on the top gainers chart for a while now, we did see Mikio up by 9.95%. Multiverse was up as well by 9.92%, while ABC Transport was also up by 9.88%. And now to the losers chart, we did see the market yesterday. Of course, we saw some losers as expected, which was topped by RT Briscoe yesterday, which was down by 9.84%. Prestige followed closely, down by 9.09%, while Stanbic was also down by 7.08%. Away from that now, let's take a look at the top trades and market movers on the floor of the exchange yesterday. And these three stocks, of course, made the biggest market moves on the floor yesterday. Speaking of Access Holdings, ICO Insurance, and Universal Insurance Company. Of course, these are the markets, or these are the stocks rather, that made the biggest market moves yesterday. Away from the market moves, now we move on to the sectoral performance yesterday. NGX Banking ended the day in the bullish trend, up by 0.36%. NGX Industrial was down by 0.04%. And consumer goods also ended in the green, up by 0.36%, while the oil and gas sector remained unchanged, and the insurance sector was up by 0.36%. And now to the African market. Speaking of the major markets across Africa, we did see the JSE, that is the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and in the positive, up by over 400% in just one trading day. And followed next is the Ghanaian Stock Exchange, which was up, which remained unchanged, the same as we had seen on Friday. And we did see the Nairobi Stock Exchange ending the bearish trend, down by 0.11%. Well, Nigeria, of course, is being represented at the ongoing G20 summit, which is going on in Germany. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is currently there, and there has been a lot of conversations going on around investment opportunities in Nigeria. And joining me now to discuss on that is Emmanuel Idenyi. He is a public affairs analyst. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for joining us this morning on the program. Okay, let's start off with an understanding of what has happened so far. I understand that the president of Nigeria, of course, has met with the German chancellor, speaking of Olaf Scholz, and he has spoken to him around investing in Nigeria's power and transportation systems. What would you say, how would you say that has gone so far? And what are the expectations from that conversation in your own point of view?
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you. Go on.
Okay.
Go on. I can hear you.
It's no longer news. The president of the country, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is at the G20 meeting. And the major reason why he is there also is to shop for foreign investors to come invest in Nigeria. But the question would be, since coming on board in May, there has been a lot of jostling, traveling, left, right, and center to get foreign direct investments to Nigeria, and particularly in Germany. We have had other investments brought into this country by the German government. How have they fared? That's the first question we need to ask. And don't take for granted that the German government will be looking at their previous investments. How has it fared? How have we used it? What has been the appraisal? They will not just, because the president came himself, they will just bring in their hard-earned taxpayers' money and invest. So the question will be, how have we used the previous investments that these countries have brought into Nigeria and Africa in general? That is when we'll be able to say for a fact if they are willing to bring in more investments. And it is until that time you can begin to measure the impact and the output of such investments in Nigeria, because the truth is nobody wants to invest where there is no considerable return on investment, and that is the truth. So we are yet to see the product of this interaction that the president is leading by attending the G20 summit in Berlin, and that is the position as it is now. They will first of all do an appraisal before they want to bring in more money to invest in Africa and Nigeria specifically.
Okay, Emmanuel Idenyi, what other conversations do you expect for the president to have, speaking about conversations around, say, climate change, say, conflict resolution? But what other areas do you expect for the president to have conversations around at the conference?
Okay, thank you very much. Now, we are largely a consumer nation. Now, the investment I would expect the president to speak about is how to bring sustainable investment in agriculture. We need to build factories that we can use for production of agricultural raw materials. We are largely people that just produce, and we don't add value to our production. So what kind of industries can these people bring into Nigeria that will improve our agriculture, that will improve our solid mineral exploration? Because some of these things need to be properly put on ground before you take care of others, because at the end of the day it should increase the livelihood of Nigerians when such investments come. It may interest you to know that cement was in Nigeria at some point. What has been the fruit of their investment before we are going back to ask for investment? So it's a wide range. So the president should also talk of how to improve on our ICT infrastructure, because that's another area that if we increase investment on them, the contribution to the GDP and of course to the bottom line of our revenue will be very high. And we know Germany for also that, and also for production of automobile. A lot of Nigerians use German automobiles. What can they do to reduce our importation of those vehicles? Probably an assemblage plant in Nigeria in not less than 3 locations in Nigeria. It will improve their economy. It will boost our livelihood. It will also bring value for our economy as a nation.
Thank you, Emmanuel Idenyi, for joining us on the program this morning.